Hi, thanks for joining me. It's Ray with Tarot Living. Today we are going to be reviewing the Five of Pentacles. In previous videos, we had reviewed 2, 3, and 4 of Pentacles, which sat in the 10th house of Capricorn, which is the Earth house right at the top of the midheaven of the chart. The 5, 6, and 7 of Pentacles astrologically sit in the 2nd house of Taurus. So we've now switched houses, and so it's a little bit of a different theme, but we're going to go through this to help you understand it. So the card 5 of Pentacles relates astrologically in terms of the attributions, which is Mercury in Taurus. So without getting too much into all of the astrological details, to bog you down, I just wanted to let you know, Mercury is an air sign. And so Mercury is all about your thinking and your communication and the way that you learn and the way that you basically compute things in your brain and the way you come up with concepts and ideas and all of the things that have to do with our mental workings. And Mercury relates to the magician, as I'm sure many of you know. And the magician is very much, a figure who has all kinds of tools and resources available to him or her, and they have lots of will and intention, and they're connected really as above, so below. They're connected, and they're going to be able to use those resources and bring manifestation into the world. But they haven't done so yet. So it's not manifested in earthly yet. And Mercury is not of the earth, it's more air and thinking and communicating and concepts. So you can see that both Mercury and the magician are not very earthbound, and they are sitting in the 2nd house, which is the house of Taurus, which is totally earthbound. And so that's where there's some of this difficulty that shows up in this card, is that really Mercury and Taurus, they're just not speaking the same language, because Taurus and the 2nd house relate to really finding, discovering who you are on a physical level, having, what possessions you have, what you value, your finances. Anything to do with financial matters, or, even though not necessarily the type of work that you do, but the things that you have that you've, reaped from that work. That has to do with the 2nd house. So Mercury is sitting there and saying, this is a different language than I usually have, and I'm not used to being in the earthly world quite yet. And so there's a little bit of a conflict there in terms of the energies coming together. Additionally, the 5 of Pentacles, of course, relates to the number 5, and the number 5 can often bring up some kind of difficulty or stress. It is associated with being almost like a crisis point or a difficult point where you are right in the middle between 1 and 10, and you haven't really experienced the difficulties yet to move over into the 6, which brings harmony, and so you're at that point. So of course 5 of Pentacles is going to bring up some of that energy. So some of the meanings that can come forward from all of those different things that I've mentioned is that it can create some kind of, or show some kind of financial difficulty, some kind of financial duress. It can mean that you've perhaps lost a job, or you're having difficulty with, payment from a job. It can mean that you are in some kind of crisis or destitution sort of point in your life. You're at a very low point, and you're needing to now move yourself forward, but it's very difficult because you're having some challenges in the physical world and with money and resources and finances. It can also mean and represent that you may be quite destitute and having difficulties, but you're not stopping in order to get help from those that may be able to help you. And usually this is represented by the church or a temple, seen through, the stained glass representation. So, the church or the temple, you can see the connection between the 5, which is the Hierophant, spiritual teaching, tradition, spiritual knowledge and support and guidance and stability. And so you're not stopping in to go and get the help from that stability behind you. So it seems, because they're walking by the church usually. So it can mean that you're not stopping in to get the help and support that you do need, or you're not reaching out for that. And hopefully you can find a way to do that, because those resources, community resources or spiritual resources, may be of great benefit to you. Those are some of the meanings and some of the underlying astrological attributions to help you understand it. I'm now going to go into several more meanings and divinatory, information if this card comes up. So while I do that, take a look at the various depictions of the Five of Pentacles. Fives in tarot relate to instability, conflict, change, challenges, difficulties and struggle, and fluctuation. Five is also considered to be a pivotal point or a crisis point. The bigger picture is that the suffering that can result from this crisis point is change, freedom, and transformation. Pentacles relate to your mundane material world, money and finances, body and health, work and business, property and material possessions, manifestation in general, and practicality. If you've pulled the Five of Pentacles, it may mean that you're feeling shaken because your needs for survival have been challenged in some way or at risk in some way. You may be experiencing some kind of financial instability or insecurity, some kind of hardship or lack of resources. It could represent that there is a job change, or a change of jobs has reduced your salary, or that unemployment is a factor for you in your life right now. It could represent that there's unexpected expenses that come up and it's difficult to make ends meet. It could also mean that you need to have some kind of financial aid and reach out for that, and it may be difficult to reach out and ask for help. This card can also represent that you are feeling alone, isolated, needy, out in the cold, and that you're not sure where to turn. You may feel like you're not part of the community, a bit of a fringe dweller, and emotionally isolated. You may also feel that you're not connected to the spiritual community and support that is behind you, represented by the church and represented by the Five, the Hierophant. The Five of Pentacles can also represent ill health, or that there's something in terms of your physical body that you're having difficulty with. It could mean that you are having concerns overall, that you're not taking care of yourself. It could potentially mean that you're overworked and you're neglecting yourself in some way. It can also mean that if you have some kind of illness, it may isolate you in some way from other people. This particular card can suggest that you need to reach out if you are not feeling well in order to get the support from the community or medical community and from others in some way. Because this card relates to Mercury, which is all about your attitudes, your mental workings, and your viewpoint and thoughts on things, this card can relate to worry in general about any of the areas we've talked about: financial difficulty, hardship, connection, isolation, or ill health. Overall, this card really is asking you to take a look at whether there's perhaps areas in your life you need to fill up further in terms of connection to others, connection to spirit, and all of the ways that you can ensure that you're living as balanced a life as you can. I hope that explanation of some of the astrological attributions, along with many of the meanings of this particular card, has helped you with regard to your own tarot readings. Thanks for watching Tarot Living, and please do check out my other videos.